your channel Beyond the Briefcase. So, today I am here with you with the part 3 of the video that would completely cover the section 13 of the Transfer of Property Act 1880. Hope you liked the previous part of this video covering this section and would also be learning from this video. So the part 3 would be covering the left out topics like what is an absolute interest and why only an absolute interest has to be transferred to the ultimate beneficiary, etc. Earlier part covered things about the meaning of prior life interest and some more detailed facts about the section. I hope you have watched the same before watching this part. Thank you. So, I earlier brought into your notice that only absolute interest may be given. So, limited or life interest cannot be transferred to an unborn person. Only an absolute interest is what could be transferred towards the benefit of an unborn person. What is the exception? A limited or life interest. There shall be no such restraint that it should be not a limited, not a life interest, only in absolute interest, that is in the favor of an unborn person which is transferred. So the transfer of property for life of an unborn person is void. Supposedly an unborn person receives a property and he is only allowed to hold it for his life. Then such a condition would make the transfer a void transfer, okay, and cannot be given effect. Moving on further, section 13 enacts that interest given to the unborn person must be the whole of the remaining interest of the transferor in the property. This is already stated under this section that the transfer must be made in the favor of unborn person towards the whole of the remaining interest of the transferor in the property. And when a property is transferred in favor of an unborn person, transferor first gives a life interest to an existing person. He retains with him the remaining interest of the property. This remaining interest with transferor must be given to the unborn so that after the termination of prior life interest, the unborn person gets the whole, that is the absolute interest in the properties. Whole para is basically stating that transferor transfers his interest firstly by creating a prior interest, and then ultimately the transfer would take favor in the benefit of an unborn person. But this interest that is transferred to the unborn person must be absolute in nature. So, when the property is transferred, the interest transferred in the favor of basically firstly would be the prior interest. The remaining interest from the prior interest must be absolutely transferred in the favor or benefit of an unborn person. This is what has been stated, that the whole of the remaining interest is given towards or transferred in the favor of the unborn person. Whole of remaining interest is the entire interest of transferor less prior life interest carved out of the ownership. I will explain it to you, but kindly listen to it first. The transfer in favor of unborn person plus prior life interest must exhaust the whole interest of transferor in property. If there is any limitation which derogates or cuts short the completeness of the grant in favor of the unborn, the transfer is void. The whole thing that is stated here is easy to just speak, but for your easy understanding, I have an illustration and I'll explain these lines through it. A transfers his interest towards X. This interest is prior interest and X is a living person. As X is unmarried, now he creates an interest. What he wants is basically that the interest of A is ultimately transferred to an unborn person who is the first child of X. When X is unmarried right now, there is no question that the unborn person is into existence. So this kind of interest is basically, transfer is basically valid because the absolute interest would come into the favor of unborn person. The second example here, if the transfer for example happening in this case earlier, now is in the condition that whatever would the transfer ultimately would be in favor of first child of X would only for the period be only for the period till he is alive. Then what would happen? I have already explained that the absolute interest could not be a life interest or a limited interest. In such a scenario, the transfer would be void, that is, it will fail. So the line that I stated to you earlier, that the transfer in favor of unborn person plus prior life interest must exhaust the whole interest of transferent property, is basically saying that the interest that firstly was transferred towards through A, that was the owner of the property, and the transferor must be completely exhausted during this whole transfer. That is, when it was firstly transferred through a prior interest, secondly when it was transferred to the unborn person, there should be nothing remaining of the actual transfer that firstly took place through the transferor. And if there is any limitation imposed on such a transfer, or the transfer remains incomplete, the transaction itself would be void. For example, in the case where the transfer was only for the life of the unborn person, there is a limitation created here and the transfer would be void. So basically, the transfer that took place in favor of the prior interest plus towards the favor of unborn person should completely exhaust the interest of the transferor. That is, nothing should remain to be basically accomplished. The last topic of my part 2 is the legal consequences of section 13. Or you could say the two conditions that I stated above before, that the transfer in unborn person must be preceded by a life interest and it should be an absolute interest that would be given to an unborn person. These conditions and what would be the legal consequences is now what I will be discussing. So, the first is that the intermediary person, that is the person in whose favor life interest is created, is given only life interest. That is, creating a life or giving life interest means that person only has the right of enjoyment and possession. So, what it is stating, that the person who is holding a life interest is only having the right to possession or enjoyment and no other right. Further, it states that he has to preserve the property, that is, he has to, there is a right here which is being talked about, but what about the duties of such a person? He has to preserve the property like a trustee during his lifetime on behalf of the unborn. So basically, I had already discussed that the person who is holding a life interest is a trustee towards the unborn person, and the main duty of a trustee is to protect the property for the person who will ultimately be benefiting from the transfer. So the second is that if absolute interest is given to this living person, that is to this life interest person holding, the person holding the life interest, if he receives an absolute interest, he may be entitled to dispose of to anyone. He may be entitled to give it to anyone of his choice and not to the unborn person, and the main aim of the transfer would fail. If he retains property with absolute interest, property after his death shall go to his legal heir and not to unborn for whose ultimate benefit the disposition was made. I have made it very clear already. The second thing or the second consequence that comes into light is that unborn person must come into existence before death of person holding property for life. So now it is stating that the unborn person should come into existence before the person dies who is holding the life interest for the benefit of the unborn person. If the unborn person comes into existence after the termination of the preceding interest, the property is to revert back to transferor or his heirs. So what it is stated that if the unborn person is not born before the death of the person holding life interest, what would be the consequence in such a case? It is very interesting to note this, that the interest in such a case would revert back to the transferor, and if the transferor is not alive, to his legal heirs. Because after termination of life interest, property cannot remain in abeyance. This is a very important rule of property law, that any property would never stand in abeyance, that it would never be in a condition that it is left out and is in no use, and cannot wait even for a moment for the next person to come into existence. So I hope that you liked my part 3 of the video that covered section 14, and have also watched the part 1 and part 2. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you keep coming back.